Many times this season, Brett Favre has joined Dan Marino, and he's on pace to be just second to Dan Marino for most passing yards in a season. Unbelievable, but Brett Favre's on pace for 4,900 yards this season. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, NFL.com's
His arm looks
Pat
as
Kirwan.
young as it did when he was 25.
Incredible what he's doing. It's the 8-1 Packers, it's the 4-5 Panthers, and what Brett Favre is doing, Pat, is absolutely mind-blowing. 6 of the last 7 games, he's thrown more than 300 yards. But at this point, it's not because he has to, because they've developed a running game with Ryan Grant. He's just still completing passes.
Since the bye, they have decided to commit themselves to the run. The head coach said, we got to go back. We got to get some running opportunities. And when you run the ball for 100 yards on the Minnesota Vikings, you have a running attack, and it's going to be a problem this week. The greatest inspiration for Brett Favre, though, is he's 38 years old. The guy on the other side of the field is 44, 82 years of life between these two quarterbacks. Maybe Brett Favre ends this game and says, I could play 5 more years.
Yeah, well, he'd have to go back to the couch and then come back. Of course, talking about Vinny Testaverde, he started 2 games this season. We saw him win the first at Arizona, the second one last week. It wasn't so much the struggles. There were a lot of struggles last week.
Yeah, there are struggles. Remember, this is a defense for Carolina. Let's start with the problems they caused. They're not doing anything on defense right now, and then consequently, it ripples into the offense. In the last 3 weeks, the Carolina Panthers are averaging 9 points a game. That ain't going to get it done, and they're playing a Packer team that's averaging about 28 points a game, so they're in for a hard day here. No matter what way I want to look at the Panthers, I go back to their defensive line. That's the heart and soul of this team, and they have not delivered.
Julius Peppers, at this time last year, had 9 sacks. He's got 1.5 sacks so far, folks, through 9 games. That's in a contract year, which is incredible for Julius Peppers. The other part of this is the fact that Green Bay's defense, we've talked about this time and time again. You're going up against an offense that can't do anything, but Green Bay's defense has 2 defensive ends that are in the top 5 in sacks, and Kabir Bajabiamila and Aaron Campman. Just fantastic.
Terrific tandem on the outside, can squeeze a pocket, and you have Cullen Jenkins inside, crushing the pocket from the inside. Really no place to go. They don't have to blitz anybody to create pressure and get sacks. They're the 10th-ranked defense. They're up against the 28th-ranked offense. They should not have a lot of problems with Carolina on the road. They say Carolina likes the road. That's because they're terrible at home. The last few games tells me a different story about Carolina. When they get in there, I think they'll struggle. And by the way, remember this. Packers have 2 matchup corners. No matter what side they put Steve Smith on, no matter how they try to motion him, it'll be Al Harris or Charles Woodson, and they're capable of slowing him down.
And they're not just good cover corners. They're good tacklers, too. And that's important with Steve Smith because you got to get him right when he catches the football. I want to correct myself real quickly. Julius Peppers at this point last year had 11 sacks, and he only has 1.5 sacks this season. So that's even worse than just 9. Let's throw all those numbers into a computer. The AccuScore prediction, 10,000 tests, 10,000 results, all mathematical elements. And here's what it has for this game. 75% of the time, the Packers took the field in the computer and spanked the Panthers. What do you like?
I agree about that. I think that, it's not about home field advantage. It's about Brett Favre, those young targets, and he's got Jones and he's got Jennings, guys catching the ball for around 17, 18 yards a catch. Donald Driver's an all-pro. He's got Corin Robinson back. He completed balls to 10 different receivers last week. How do the Panthers cover it? They don't.
10 different receivers in the first half, which is even more.
And then he gave them all a second reception in the second half.
And touchdowns. Even when things are going bad, it hits defenders' hands and they catch touchdowns. It's unbelievable what Brett Favre is doing. He's trying to lead the Packers to 9-1 for the first time under his watch. He really is having the best season. The game starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. And for more on this one or any other, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. Watch everything else on the CBS Audience Network. For Pat Kirwan, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.